I mean, if you've never left the United States or looking for a trip abroad, just go to the Cartagena trip. What city is the hidden gem in Cartagena in Colombia? I mean, there are a lot of hidden gems in Colombia. There are a lot of smaller cities that you can go to. But I mean, like, here's the thing, Sergio. Like, how many times have you traveled abroad? Because this is another point that I make. Right? Is that like there are people who are like looking for hidden gems who haven't even been to like the public gems. You know what I mean? Like, why are you looking for hidden gems if you've never even been to the public gems? If you've never been to like Rio de Janeiro, yeah, dude, you're like I don't understand why people brag about it like that. Like you're like we all know what you're doing. You're going to Park Yoris and you're paying a bunch of women to spend the night with you, right? It's not you're not actually meeting women. You're not like a player. You know what I mean? And like here's the thing, right? Like I've obviously nothing against pay for play. Like I recommend people do pay for play, honestly, especially if you're in a rut and you haven't been with a woman in a while. You should 100% do you should obviously do pay for play in order to get out of your rut. But like it's not like a thing that you should be doing forever. That's why we go there, though. Exactly. That's my point, though. Is that the people of Medellin, the actual like native Medellinites, are upset about the fact that Americans treat their home like a whorehouse. And so, like, why not just like listen to the people who live in the place that you pretend to like, and just go somewhere else? Rio is still worth going. Rio is the best city. So I have 4 cities that I think every human being should visit at least once, and Rio's on that list. I booked trip to Medellin. Let's see how it goes. Exactly. Santa Marta, Colombia. I haven't been, but I've heard that it's really that good. Um, Good recommendations for Rio. Sounds sick. Don't don't go to Rio for Carnival though. Don't go to Rio for Carnival. This is another thing. I'll have people asking me, for Rio de Janeiro advice. I tell them the advice, and then they like book it for Carnival. That's like the worst idea. Don't go to Carnival in Rio. Stay in Zona Sul. Yeah, I mean you can stay in Zona Sul. I think the best place. I don't think Zona Sul is the best place to stay. To be honest with you, you're just completely surrounded by scammers, by thieves, by tourists. Don't understand people who literally go. Give me a second. I'm going to disconnect from my VPN because I keep on. Um, in order to just be surrounded by tourists. The places that everyone should go at least once in my top 4 cities are New York, Rio, Paris, and Tokyo. Well, who is the Asian version of Passport Paulie or become the Asian expert one day? I've spent about a year of my life in Asia. I can make a lot of Asian content. The problem is that nobody listens to my Asian content. My Asian content doesn't get any plays, so I don't make Asian content. I would love to make Asian content. I love Asia. Um, Paraguay, I heard, has conservative baddies, but I speak no English. Would like to marry one. Yeah, Paraguay does. Yeah, is it still lagging or not? Are still issues? The problem with Carnival, man, is it's filled with Americans. It's filled with tourists. Why are you going halfway around the world to be around Americans? It makes no sense, man. For me, I think the best time to go to Rio de Janeiro is in July. First of all, the Brazilians would tell you it's way too cold in July. That's not true. It's like 85, 90 degrees in July. Which part of the city? I think Flamingo is the best place. Flamingo has no Americans at all. Zona Sul in July has a lot less Americans. It still has some, but it is a lot less in July. Um, but yeah, no. July, June, it gets a little cloudy sometimes, but overall the weather is still phenomenal in Rio de Janeiro during that time of the year. Everything's a lot cheaper. If you're gonna get with girls in Rio de Janeiro, July is the best time to do it because you're not. Just use your translator app if you don't speak Portuguese, man. You'll be fine. What one thing is that like if you speak, you know, yeah, the park in Flamingo is incredible. Recommendations on getting internet in South America for working remote. Pretty much every Airbnb has pretty good internet, to be honest with you. I haven't really had any problems with getting internet in Latin America. Just double check every Airbnb you stay in to make sure it has internet and hot water and all that type of stuff. But you should be 100% fine, dude. You'll be okay. Don't worry about it. Um, let's see. How do you go back to dating American women, after being a passport bro? Um, I don't. I'm married to a Latina. Why would you go back to American women after being a passport bro? It's like it's like imagine if somebody like worked at McDonald's and then they were like studying in their spare time and they got like a business degree and they became like a multimillionaire like banker and then they decided to go back to working at like as like a fry cook at McDonald's. It's the same thing. Like why would you ever go back to dating Western women after being a passport bro? The park in Flamingo is not really a place to go meet women. You can meet women in Rio de Janeiro just going out drinking. The Brazilians like beards. I don't really know. Some do, some don't. Um, yeah, that's true. I don't really know. I don't know Barcelona at all. I stayed a month in Madrid, and Madrid sucks. Um, for the love of the game. But like, why would you like? It's not love of the game. It's a terrible game. You know what I mean? US is completely chopped. Bro, stop asking the same question 100 times, bro. Yeah. I actually met her on Tinder, weirdly enough. Um, I don't recommend it though. I mean, I obviously like I met my wife on Tinder and that worked out well, but like I also had a lot of like bad situations happen on Tinder. So the place I recommend meeting a wife is at church. That's like where you should be going to meet a wife. It's not, you know. Um can you compare KL with Jakarta? I think Jakarta's would be a lot easier than KL. Um, KL is a little bit of a more like modern city, I feel, than Jakarta. But I think I might just have like bias against Jakarta because of like I think I might just have Bali bias. Yeah, dude, you'll still do good in Latin America if you're not white. The thing is the quality of the women in Latin America is a lot better. I put much thought into finding a South America partner. I'm more of a bean passport bro than a rice passport bro. Yeah, I mean, I prefer Latinas over Asians. I do have to say, like, me not making videos about Asia is purely a function of the fact that those videos just don't do well. I would 100% make videos you know, of Asia every single day if people watch those videos, but people don't watch the videos. So, would you ever go to Russia or Ukraine for dating? Yeah, what 100%. I mean, if I wasn't married, I mean, I wouldn't go for dating. I would just go. The Latvia situation is not true, man. The Latvia situation is Indians who are putting out slop content in order to be able to game the algorithm and get money. That's why they're doing it. It's a complete lie. Once I see a video of an actual passport bro who like has been to Latvia and is like, "Yo, Latvia's where it's at." You know what I mean? It's like not, you know, so because Paraguay is landlocked, would it be better buying a summer house in a neighboring country? Um, yeah, I mean, Paraguay is not really like you know, is not like the most fun place to like hang out. You know what I mean? It's not like that's not Paraguay. Um. Anyway. Um. Uh. Have I been to Eastern Europe? Yeah, dude. I'm Polish. If you had to up your life and move to a Latam country, never leave, which one would it be? It would probably be Argentina. Although that's because me and my wife are probably moving to Argentina soon. So you know, who knows? Um, how important to have good money? It's not really important at all, man. Living abroad is cheaper than living in the United States. As long as you can work remote and gain money remotely, like regularly, you're much better in Latin America than you are in America. But yeah, me and my wife are planning on moving to Argentina in like a month. Um, Let me see. Why would you go to South America to see colonizers? Bro, I fucking hate comments like that. You're an idiot. Like what year did the Dutch arrive in South Africa and what year did the Zulu arrive in South Africa? Can you answer that question for me? No, cuz you're retarded. Um like the Zulu and like the black people who live in South Africa have been living in South Africa for just as much time as the Europeans. Who are your favorite passport content creators? I don't watch passport content. I don't, I'm a passport content creator. I don't watch this stuff. Um don't you find those countries too hot? No, not really. Um Paraguay is like a place to invest and make money. Is like zero BS and long term. Um Let me see. What's my main online income source? So I recently quit my job to like now I'm a full-time content creator, but before then it was a I was a remote sales rep. Um the entire world has been colonized. Yeah, I'm not I'm not saying that you should go see white women in South Africa. I think that's a bad idea. I'm just saying that like this whole rhetoric of like I'm not gonna go see colonizers. I think it's just stupid and divisive. and I just don't really like you're on the stream of a white person right now. Where do you get off using derisive language for white people, man? But anyway, I'm just not putting up with that shit, man. This is honestly like just to take a step back. This is one of the nice things about living abroad is not having to deal with people who talk this way. Like Latinos don't talk this way. Latinos don't refer to people as like colonizer and stuff. It's just this like brain rot that exists in America where there's a certain class of people that like to blame their personal failures on historical events from hundreds of years ago. And so they go around throwing accusations at people based upon the color of their skin. And I just don't put up with it, man. I just don't put up with it. So anyway, I hope I'm not coming across rude. Did you read my South Argentinian question? Ask it again. What are South Argentinian women looking for in a partner? What would give me an advantage? I mean, the main thing that Latinas are looking for in white people and like in Americans is just stability, right? Latino men are commonly known for being a lot more promiscuous, um, and not being like, you know, very good at like, staying at home, raising a family, that type of stuff. So if you can show that you're a stable man, you're gonna win. I earn $150 a week online. I know that's not enough, but do you think I'm far? I would like the magic number should be 3,000 a month. If you can reliably earn $3,000 a month online, you can move abroad. Is Argentina actually super feminist or just more feminist than other Latin American countries? One thing I would disabuse you of is the notion of viewing countries as their own distinct entities. I would instead look at places by cities, right? So Buenos Aires is as feminist as people say, right? But Mendoza is not. You know what I mean? So what I would recommend is like don't think of it as a country by country basis. Think of it as a city by city basis. Or for example, Curitiba in Brazil, like Curitiba. So Brazil is like the most left wing country in Latin America. Literally, the like left wing political alliance is called a Sao Paulo consensus or something. And like Paraguay is the most, right wing, country in Latin America. But I'm pretty sure Curitiba in Brazil is like more right wing than Asuncion. You know what I mean? Like you have to think of it on a city by city basis. You go to destitute populations to cope with their failures, though. This is the soft racism and bigotry of liberals. Like, you go to places like Rio de I mean, I've made this point so many times, man, but, like, you go to a place like Rio de Janeiro, these people aren't destitute. You know what I mean? Like, the women that you're meeting in a place like Rio de Janeiro aren't destitute. Is it income a green card? I don't know what that means. You would understand my people still deal with systemic issues. No, your people don't still deal with systemic issues, Key. Yo, my people, Key, have gone through more shit than your people could ever go through ever. I'm Polish, okay? Do, do you even want to like if you began opening the book on Polish history, you would start crying. So don't talk to me about your bullshit systemic issues. No, it's personal failures. Are there any hot chicks in Greenland? I have no idea. Would I visit Falkland Islands? I would never visit the United Kingdom anymore. 2,000 a month in Brazil sounds good. Yeah, but I would still go for 3 just to like make sure you're fine. Um Best location for wifey material in Brazil. I don't know, a small town. Are there any dangerous spots in South America? No, man. Every spot in South America is 100% safe. Do you have a degree? Obviously, there are. Do you have a degree? Yes. What about Venezuelan women? My wife is Venezuelan. Damn, Poles got it bad during World War II. Yeah, dude. Do I offer something more 100% safe? What do you mean more 100% safe? Are you talking about my trip packages? Because this trip package, I mean, nothing in life is 100% safe, but like this is as close to 100% safe as you're gonna get. Yeah, Venezuelans have great values. Um, anyway, what happened to the United Kingdom, dude? What didn't happen to the United Kingdom? The United Kingdom is the worst, man. I would never go to England. Can I ask why did you settle down and get married? It usually seems like passport bros don't settle down. Um, that's actually a really good question. So a lot of passport bros don't settle down, but it's it's not for not wanting to settle down. I've talked to a lot of them. They're kind of like passport bros. And this is one thing I tell people to be cautious of is that being a passport bro is kind of like doing drugs, right? And like there are some people, and like most people will like, in their 20s, go out to the bars, do some lines, smoke some pot. And then like by the time they're 30, will like get over it and like be okay. But then there are people who get like addicted, right? And that's the same thing as when it comes to passport bros and meeting girls abroad, is that there are a lot of guys, and I'm in this category, who'll go abroad, sleep with a lot of women, have some good experiences, have some bad experiences, be like, hey, that was a lot of fun. But now, I'm ready to settle down and get married. I want to find a good traditional woman who I can build a life with, right? But then there are other guys who just like, it's too easy for them. You know what I mean? And and it's impossible for them. I think that like the core quote unquote sin that they're falling victim to. We all fall victim to sins. I fall victim to gluttony. The core sin that they're falling victim to is narcissism. Like after having these women fall over you for so long, it's hard to be in an actual relationship with somebody where you have to like compromise and you have to be in a real relationship, right? So that's one thing that I always caution passport bros about is like don't get hooked on the easy women because once you get hooked on the easy women, it's hard to get over it, right? So, you know, I think you should just do it for a little bit and then settle down. Um, yeah, thanks for the had a mustache. I want to impregnate a woman on every different continent. That's not a good idea. Um, Coping is go to the third world instead of leveling up to win in the United States. Dude, like, first of all, you're probably a looks maxer. Like, I thought that we got rid of you after this weekend, after like that incredibly non-straight performance that your bro Clavicular got up to. Like him and his band of, there's so many words I want to use to describe it that I can't. I'm gonna get banned on TikTok if I do. But like you guys have turned into just a giant joke. No one takes you guys seriously anymore. Everyone thinks that you're a bunch of losers. Like, why are you talking? Like you should just be in a basement somewhere crying because the entire internet and the entire world is laughing at you right now. But going off of that, like the point is that women in the United States suck. And so, you know, you can level up all you want. You're still going to get like terrible women that have horrible values, that aren't interested in long-term relationships and are surrounded by a culture that is intent on making your relationship break down and get destroyed. So, like what the hell are we talking about here, man? You're a loser. Get out of here. Latam has more amenities and things in their lives than the first world. 100%, dude. Like this is the other hilarious part about this like first world, third world discourse. I lived in Los Angeles for 4 years. When I went to CVS, literally everything was behind glass because everything was stolen so much. But like I went to Brazil, literally went to like Copacabana, like one of the most, crime infested parts of Brazil, and nothing was behind glass. And so these people are telling me, like, oh, you're going to the third world. It's like, bro, you're the one that lives in the third world. You're the one that's surrounded by Haitians and Somalians and people from India who are scamming you, who are turning public spaces in the United States into absolute trash heaps. What are you talking about? I live in the third world. You live in the third world. I live in the second world. Okay, I live in places that aren't fully developed, that like don't have all the amenities, but because of that, we don't have all the leeches that are like trying to suck at the teat of the United States and like steal all of your money. Right? You're the one who's surrounded by these like degenerates, not me, bro. Anyway, where to look for a good quality mate? Church. You just exposed yourself. Went through far worse than any other race. I'm not denying the Polish. Polish went through far worse than what you guys did too. Imagine having to go to other countries to pay women to talk to you because you can't get them in the United States. This is one of my favorite. This is one of my favorite genres of loser. Right, Key specifically is that someone like Key, he gets completely humiliated. He gets completely mogged, to use, these like loser degen clavicular phrasing, right? And so he can't defend what he's saying anymore. He knows that Polish history is far worse than anything Black Americans have gone through, right? Like the amount of genocides alone that we've gone through in the past 100 years is insanity, right? So because he knows that he can't win that point, what he does is he pivots to another point and starts lobbing personal insults. And this is the exact type of lack of personal accountability that's the reason why your life is a failure, dude. Because instead of sitting and saying, "Oh wow, I guess I was wrong about something," you instead shift culpability and then start lobbing insults at somebody else. Acting on the stream is a microcosm of the way that you and the people in the community that you claim are victims act as well. It's the reason why nobody likes you. Do you get paid for TikTok views? Yes and no, not nearly enough. You moving to Argentina permanently? Semi permanently. I have no idea what. Okay, dude, I don't give a shit. Dude, this guy came at me with racial BS. I'm not going to allow another person to start insulting me. So, Lee, go F yourself. I've never talked to you before. Brazil looks beautiful from the videos. How are the women? The women are beautiful. Not also me, bro. I don't know what that means. That's it. Do you don't think they have that in Latam? Oh, yeah, no, I love your mate. I'm getting over a sickness right now, so I can't really drink it. I'd rather just stick with American women as much as I hate them. I don't have to learn another language. I mean, okay, bro, but like you're going to, you know, you're gonna like get, scammed. You're gonna get divorced. Can I be bold and ask you a thought about starting a dating service in South America? I don't really feel like doing that, to be honest. I'm not ugly. I can get hoes around the world. Like, dude, you mentally checked out of that conversation because I used words that have more than 5 letters in them. You have a reading comprehension level below the 5th grade. That's why you checked out of the conversation, because 'cause you're an idiot. Um, anyway, what's your take on going to Rio at Carnival versus not Carnival days? Do not y that's the funny thing, is like Key is here starting a fight over BS, and then you're like, "Yo, why are you here if you wanna just fight over BS?" He's like, "Same reason you're here." It's like, "Well, no, it's not the same reason because, um, F with it is here to get questions answered." And by the way, I appreciate your questions. What do I think of Greenland? Um, I think America should take Greenland 100%. Again, dude, like the funny thing about Key, dude, is that Key is doing like the exact playbook of what you would expect Key to be doing in the situation, right? Like I am personally insulting him based upon the logical fallacies and the stupid things that he's saying. And so instead of, defending himself, what he does is he just says, "Oh, why are you insulting me because I'm black?" And it's like, no, that's not why. It's because you're saying dumb things. My Irish ancestors had it way worse as people. 100%, dude. What? Why should America take? Um, and then goes into a weight insult. Exactly. Why should we take Greenland? Because America already controls Greenland. Already controls Greenland. America's already the country that defends Greenland. Like this idea that Denmark is somehow an autonomous nation is complete BS. Denmark and the Europeans are not autonomous, they're not sovereign, they don't pay for their own defense, they're not real countries. And so if America wants to say, like, for the money that we spend defending Greenland, we need to actually control it, that's 100% in our right. As an American, and like ones in the chat, if you guys agree, we have spent so much money over the past 25 years fighting other people's wars, protecting other people, protecting other countries. One of the most frustrating things is like you'll go to Europe, right? And you'll be lectured by these Germans about how terrible America is because we don't have universal health care and how they're like better people than us because they have universal health care. And you're like, wait a second, the reason why you have universal health care and we don't have universal health care is because we're paying for your defense. We're literally paying for your defense. You don't have to have a military budget because America has a military budget for you. So no, I'm not okay with that arrangement. And I think that I think those people should go to hell, man. We should take Greenland, we should take what we want. Um he's dating a Latina and crying in his comments. All he had to do was go to the gym and develop a non-insufferable personality, but chose Paraguay. Yeah, dude, I went to the gym before. I used to bench 275. I used to run 5 miles a morning. You guys don't really know anything about me. And again, your looks maxer god clavicular got exposed for being like an absolute tool this weekend. You should really not be talking right now. Why not? Why take Greenland though? It seems like we can do everything we need to do there the way things are. My understanding is it's primarily a natural resources play. Like one of the big issues that we're facing as a country is that China has access to all of these rare earth minerals that we just don't have access to, and they basically exist in Greenland. And Denmark right now is trying to make like a trade agreement with China to give them the rare earth minerals, and we're just like, no, we can't do that. What are you talking about? Um, That's fair, dude. I'm just not gonna read him anymore. I live in Greenland, not gonna lie. Honestly, like I would kind of live in Greenland too. It would get depressing. Um, so I can't. So, um, Frank Sinatra asked, "What do I think of two people?" I can't say their name. I literally. So just so people know, like back when I first started, I used to post a lot more like controversial videos, and I posted one with like one of those guys' names in it. I wasn't even agreeing with him. I literally just said the name. And so, like, of all the videos that I made, I think I've gotten like 10 that were taken down by TikTok. And nine of those 10, they reversed their decision. The only one that they didn't reverse the decision of was the one where I mentioned that guy's name. So I'm not mentioning his name on TikTok ever again. I don't want to get my account banned. That being said, like I think that those two guys completely humiliated themselves this weekend. It's much easier to look cool when you're like here, you know what I mean? Like when you're in like your private room talking, once you're actually out on the street and people see the way you interact with the world, that's when they see if you're actually like a cool person or not. I think that both those guys got exposed for being like really kind of dorks. Hey, I've been following your content for a while, but it seems like you're aiming your message at older men who are looking to settle down, including your book. What advice would you offer to a 20-year-old? I would say that if you're like 20 years old, you should go travel abroad today and just spend the next 5-10 years going to as many countries as possible. You should have as many experiences as possible, and so that when the time comes where you want to settle down, you have absolutely no regrets. That's one of the best decisions that I made in my 20s. Personally, I wish I would have gotten married earlier, but nevertheless, one of the best decisions I've ever made in my 20s was traveling as much as I did, having as many experiences as I did. I'm married now, and I've absolutely no urge to go to the club. I've no urge to go meet women. I've no urge to cheat on my wife. I have no urge to even really like drink or party that much. It's because I've kind of done it all. My 20s were great. My early 30s were amazing. I had a great time in my life, and I wouldn't trade that time for the. I mean, I would, but I'm happy with that time for what it was, and I'm done with it. I'm moving on. You know what I mean? And so that's what I recommend to people in their 20s is just live your life in your 20s as well as you can, and have no regrets for when you settle down. Because the most important thing that you can do in your life, in my opinion, is settle down, have a family, have kids. And the worst thing that can happen, in my opinion, is you do that and then you're looking outside. You're like, oh my God, I wish I was at the club right now. I wish I was with these beautiful women right now, right? You got to be in a position where you don't feel that at all, where you're completely done with it. Um, so I like to visit Ukraine, Moldova, then Paraguay and Argentina in the future. I'm planning on being a teacher, so the summers I have off would be for to travel. Yeah, dude, that's a great idea. You should definitely do Argentina first. Um, I talk about yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Do you hate Indians? I don't hate any Indians at all. Um, I don't hate Indians at all. I don't. Here's the thing, man. I don't like Indian culture. I think I think Indian culture, like I like my culture. I like European culture. I like Christian culture. These are things that I like. You know what I mean? I think that they create societies that are conducive for human flourishing. We see that based upon the results, right? You judge the tree by its fruit, right? And the fruit of Western civilization has been pretty dope, right? The fruit of Indian culture, I think we can clearly see has not been, right? And so I do not like Indian culture. I don't want Indian culture to be spread to the United States because I don't like it. I like my culture, right? Indians can have their culture in India. I don't want them to spread Indian culture to America. That being said, some of my best friends are Indians. One of my favorite group chats that I'm in is like 40% ethnically Indian people, right? But I don't view those people as Indians. They're Americans. Well, one's British. They were raised in America. They have American values. They speak English. They are Americans, right? And I think that's an important thing for myself personally. Is that I think there's a question of like, is America a creedal nation? Is America an ethnic nation? Like, I don't have a definitive answer on that. I'm not like a political scientist or political philosopher. My thing is that like I like American culture. I want people to act like Americans. And if people don't like to act like Americans, they have every right not to be. I just don't think that that's a good way to act. If that makes sense, right? Um, it was a Pakistan that scammed my grandma 5K. That's horrible, man. Um, Don't give bank details to this group chat. That's true. Uh, how did Cloud get exposed for being a tool, bro? Did you see the videos of the stream, bro? Like, they just look. Again, I can't use the words I want to use on TikTok, but um, I have an upcoming trip to Germany and Brazil. Those are my first solo trips. Nice, dude. Please elaborate what you say you wish you were married earlier. About what age should we be married for a happy good life? I mean, I would never recommend somebody to do something that I didn't do myself because you don't know the pitfalls of the things that you haven't done. So I got married at 33. It was a great time to get married. But I mean, I love my wife to death, and like the idea of like, it's like, hey, I spent 10 years without her basically what I could have spent with her. That kind of sucks for me, right? That being said, life is life, man. Yeah, I got married this year. Yeah, dude, I'm answering YouTube, I'm answering Twitch, and I'm answering TikTok at the same time. Yo, what up, Big Mo? Who does Greenland need to be protected by? If someone invades Greenland, all of NATO fights a war. Yeah, but 99% of NATO is the United States. NATO's a sock puppet for the United States. So, you know, I'm 35 right now. What advice can you give on meeting local girls in Tokyo? Not talking about the scamming hostess ladies bars. Honestly, man, like I've heard from every single person that I've talked to that Tokyo is a horrible place to meet women. I understand that I look like this, and so there are places that like I might not meet women that other people can meet women, but everything that I've heard is that Tokyo is the absolute worst place. So don't maybe you guys can get some action in Tokyo, but I haven't, and none of my friends who are really good looking have either. So you don't date Japanese women. I when I was single, I was 100% pro dating Japanese women. I think Japanese women are gorgeous. But what I've heard is that they just don't date Americans. What do you think about Serbian women? I don't like Eastern European women because I'm Eastern European. What did you do for those 10 years? I spent a few years out of college working on political campaigns, and then I spent um, a bunch of years working in software sales. I've been in Thailand for 90 days. I really want to go to Latam instead, but scared because I've never been. Yeah, I mean, honestly, like Latam is like more scary than Thailand. Thailand is kind of like the safest places to travel in the world. Um, Korean girls are better. I've heard that Korean girls are, they're also like pretty hard to get with. I was in Korea as like a married man though, so I don't really have any like good experiences on it or good information on it. Yo, John Calvin, you missed the fight that happened earlier. Definitely hard for you. Okay. Um yeah, I mean I'm talking about like, you know, like I made that point myself. It's so weird when I acknowledge my own weight and then somebody comes in with a fat joke. It's like I literally acknowledge this. For those who don't get it, Latinas are extremely open and warm. Most women are modern women are not. That's 100% true. And they're also like really interested in marriage in a way that like modern women aren't either. Oscar de la Souza says that I'm the goat. So you guys heard from him, bro. Yo, so by the way, for people who if there are people who like are on Instagram, I just started putting out videos in earnest on Instagram. Um um What is with people not wanting children? Man, it's just I think I mean personally, I think it's a psyop. To not wanting to have children. I think that they're evil. I mean, this is one of the nice things about being, you know, about being a Catholic is that I can just like explain things away, just calling it the devil. I think it's the devil. He's trying to destroy civilization. He's trying to destroy humanity, and he's doing it by convincing people not to have children. So, you should have children. The thing is that like people say because it's too expensive. That's completely BS in my opinion. Like you'll have middle class people in America who, don't make anything and they're having like 15 kids. And then you'll have like these incredibly rich kids, you know, these incredibly rich people in America who have all the money that they need to have children, but are not having any children or having zero children. It's not an economic situation at all. It's a matter of will is that in the upper classes of American society, and I can tell you this as somebody who was like a part of it, like you just like you have this culture of inherent narcissism that exists. And like people just don't want to spend their time raising another child. They just don't think it's a very fulfilling thing. I think part of it is because their own parents worked and didn't really want to raise them. So they're never really raised with this idea that like raising kids is a good unto itself, right? So I think that that's why I think it's a huge cultural problem. I think that we need to fix it. By the way, I laughed seeing Diplo like you're real about different Brazilians. Dude, that was crazy, man. That was crazy. Yo, so yesterday, literally yesterday at 10 a.m., I had 200 Instagram followers. Today, I have 15,000. Mexicans, Brazilians, or Colombians? Which one are the most friendly? I would say Colombians. Is it good that I'm Catholic? Does that give me an advantage? I mean, that just gives you an advantage in life. Or is it a group of elites doing it? I don't know what that means. Um, who's having 15 kids? I mean, I'm exaggerating. That's true, Mormons. Um, I'd say minimum three, so you add to society. Yeah, me and my wife are hoping to have six kids, but we're probably just gonna end up with um with three. To be honest, I think that's I'm very curious to know how did you get comfortable with deciding that she was for you, and if you did you do a background check on your wife's history? Um, I'll say this, man. So you asked like how did you get comfortable with it, deciding that she was for you, and did you do a background check on her history? If you are, and I'm not trying to say this in a dickish way, I'm trying to give you a legitimate answer. Travel lover, I appreciate all your support. I appreciate you always hopping on these lives. I'm not trying to be a dick. This might sound like a dickish answer, but I sincerely don't mean it that way. Um, if you are in a position where you are thinking about doing a background check on your future wife, you should not marry her. Like that's not a person that you should marry, and it's not anything about you. It's that like when you marry somebody, like that's a decision that should not be made logically at all. I think that's one of the big problems that we have in a society is that people make the decision of who they're going to marry the same way that they make it the same way that a company makes a decision about like who they're going to hire. You know what I mean? The same way that like an NFL team makes a decision of like which wide receiver they're going to draft, right? And you can't make the decision that way, right? You will know like when you meet the woman that you're going to marry, and if it's going to be a happy, long lasting marriage, you will know the second you meet her that she's the future mother of your children. So I tell this story, and there's a huge background to this story. I'm not going to tell it because it has nothing to do with my wife. It's not really that important. But the story about how I met my wife is actually like a really crazy, long, cool story. I talk about it in my book. If anybody wants to read it, it's in the link in my bio. It's called How to Meet Your Latina Wife. But basically, to skip to the ending, me and my wife, we met up at this restaurant, and so I'm going to tell you the fake moment that I realized I was going to marry her, and I'm going to tell you the real moment that I realized I was going to marry her. So the fake moment, the kind of the jokey moment, is we were at this Italian restaurant, and I got there before her. I ordered wine, I ordered appetizers. She sat down and she said to me, she was like, I don't really feel like Italian. Do you mind if we go somewhere else? And I was like, yeah, sure, why not? And so, I paid the bill, paid for the wine, paid for the appetizers. We walked out. There's a restaurant, on our left. It was a steakhouse, right? And so she walked up. She was looking at the menu. There was a menu outside, and she was like, "I'm not sure it has what I want." And I was like, "Okay, like what are you in the mood for? Let's just start out with that. What are you in the mood for? We'll get you what you want, whatever, right?" And she was like, "I really feel like eating lasagna." And I was just like, "Bitch, we were just at an Italian restaurant. We were at a place to get lasagna, and you left that to go to a steakhouse to get lasagna." Anyway, it's a little funny story that's what I tell people is the moment I want to make her my wife. It's kind of true, but the real moment of when I knew that she was gonna be my wife is the next morning. She didn't stay over. She went back home. But like I remember waking up and it had been really difficult for me for a while to get really motivated to do work. It was a huge problem in my life for like a long time. I just didn't really care about my job anymore, and so I remember waking up at like 5:15 in the morning. I needed like 5 alarms to wake up every day for like a year, 2 years. I woke up at 5:15 in the morning, not a single alarm. I remember getting up, going to my laptop, and just starting working on this new project that I thought of. I remember thinking like I remember like after like an hour looking at it, just realizing what I'd done. I remember thinking to myself, I met the future mother of my children last night. I am gonna be the man of the family. I'm gonna be a husband. I don't know when. I need to leave. I need to leave this job that I'm doing right now that's not paying me enough money, and I need to find a way to make enough money to support her and the future children that we're gonna have. And I just knew that in my soul. You know what I mean? And that's the answer. So like, do a background check, not do a background check. Who gives a shit? When you meet the woman, you'll know that she's the woman. And if you don't know she's the woman, she's not the woman. That's my answer. Loving the content, man. Just found you today. It's changing how I'm planning the future. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate all the new followers. Appreciate all the old followers, obviously. Law women. Um, would I do good in Brazil? Sure, man. Um, do I like Trump? Um, I guess I talked about enough politics today, so I guess I can answer that question. Um, I um I was a lifelong Democrat until 2022. I spent my entire life, working, being a Democrat. I literally worked for the Democratic Party for 4 years, but then living in California for 7 years and living in the shithole that the Democrats created in California made me decide that I can't be a part of that party anymore. So take that answer how you will. Rio de Janeiro, Copacabana Beach or Flamingo? You say you prefer Flamingo. How come? Copacabana is swarmed with tourists, and because it's swarmed with tourists, it's swarmed with hawkers. It's swarmed with scammers. It's swarmed with criminals. Flamingo is basically what Copacabana would be if it wasn't like a giant tourist attraction. I'm actually met my wife on an app, which I don't recommend people do, but it just happened to work for us. Can you speak more on geomaxing? I was initially going to go to Brazil and be around black Brazilian women, but it sounds like it's best to go to places that don't have black men. I mean, if you're into black Brazilian women, you should go to places with black Brazilian women, right? Your number one, the number one thing that should determine where you're going to is who you're into, right? That being said, like if you're agnostic, then yeah, you should go to a place where you are the exception. You know what I mean? By the way, thanks for all the roses, Big Jerome. I appreciate it. Hi, Paul from Singapore with love. Yo, AI for students is from Singapore, man. Yo, I love Singapore. I love to go back to Singapore, man. Where's your wife from? She's from Venezuela. How you know so much about such remote places? I've been to them. Have been to Arkansas. No, I've never been to Arkansas. Am I going to the World Cup? No. No way. No way. You said you're staying at Asuncion. Why? I'm not. I'm actually gonna go back. We're moving to Argentina. My plans change every day. So, never like if I make a video with like my future plans on it, you need to check the day on it because if it's more than like 3 days in the past, it's probably outdated. You've been to Singapore holiday or work? I just went to Singapore for like 3 days. Me and my wife. So this is one thing I highly recommend people do when they travel is that like if you're going around a specific geographic location, what I recommend doing is do like a month, a month, a week, a week, a week, a month, a month. You know what I mean? Because the months are when you save money and the weeks allow you to like add more countries and add more experiences, right? So me and my wife just went on a trip around Asia, right? So what we did was we did a month in Thailand because she's never been to Thailand. We did 3 days in Singapore. We did a week and a half in Kuala Lumpur. Then we did a month in Bali, a month in Philippines, a week in Vietnam, a week in Laos, a month in Korea, a week in Mongolia, and then a week in Egypt. By the way, that was the worst. We were joking about this. Like all the countries that we wanted to spend that we spent a weekend, we wanted to spend a month in, and vice versa. That's not actually true. Like what I'd recommend is do a month in Kuala Lumpur, a month in Vietnam. I'd even do a month in Mongolia. The other countries you can kind of do in a week. Did you go back to US at all? Never. You drink mate? I do. I'm having throat problems right now, so I haven't drank mate in a little bit. But once my throat problems get resolved, then I'll be back here drinking mate. The best way to meet a future wife is through charity work or church. Stay away from Tinder, 100%. I've been to tall women, 5'11 plus, or the girls like that outside of Eastern Europe. Yeah, they exist in Chile and Argentina. Should you go to a place with money opportunity or for the place you want your wife from? You should go to the place where you want your wife to be from. Um, you can make money anywhere. Thoughts on Filipino women from rural areas? I spent a month in Palawan. I was married at the time, but I just don't think Filipino women are attractive. I'm not saying that to like people always take this like I say like I don't think Filipino women are attractive. They're like shots fired, Paul v Filipino women. I don't dislike Filipino women. Like I'm happy for them. I'm happy for the people who like them. Is they're just not my thing. People say that they look like Latinas. I don't think that's true at all. Um, yeah, bro, Paraguay is very poor and run down and very sketchy in Chaco. Yeah, but it's not sketchy in Asuncion. Not even some of the matches in Mexico. Why not? Just not to soccer. No, it's just so expensive. I don't like wasting my money on stuff. Like I think so like when I was in Madrid, I went to a Real Madrid game. When I was in Brazil, I went to a Flamingo game. When I was in Japan, I went to an F1 race. But I did all of that like on an economical way, right? Going to the World Cup is just like a waste of money, in my opinion. Um, okay, don't go to Chaco, Paraguay. I don't know what to say though. Singapore hotel is expensive. Yeah, Singapore is pretty expensive. That's why we're only there for like 3 days. What criteria matters most to you now that you're married for a country? So one thing that's important to remember about like Latinas need to be around their family. So like my number one criteria is that my wife doesn't bitch at me. And like we figure out everything from there. She really wants to live around her family, so it's really where her family lives is where we're gonna live, right? Um, that being said, if I were to choose anywhere to live right now, it would probably be Vietnam. I'll choose Vietnam. I'll choose Kuala Lumpur. And East Asia is the best place to live, no questions asked. If you're looking for a more advanced place, probably South Korea. You drink mate, why? Because I like mate. Bello and Guyana, which one would you choose? Guyana. Mongolia is dope, man. I met my wife in Paraguay. I'm a full time content creator. Not into Russian women, no. Bro, stop asking the same question a million times. What Latin countries are cool to biracial black people? Everyone. Why not live in Morocco? I would 100% live in Morocco. I would live in Morocco. I mean, the only problem for me in Morocco is that Morocco is a Muslim country, and I am like very Christian, so like that's the only problem. But besides that, you know, I would 100% live in Morocco. My home state, Virginia, just got taken over by race communists. I'm happy I'm buying in Argentina. That's John Calvin. John Calvin's kind of like the Mike Miller of these chats. You know, what I mean, he just comes in, he just drains some threes, gets an easy 15 points, and then like goes on his way. That's 100% true. Virginia, I'm scared of what happened to Virginia. Um, I went to Slavic women. Why not go back to USA? What's wrong? Please explain. Dude, everything's expensive. Everyone's always mad at each other. The culture's really commoditized the individual. The culture is built upon destroying the institution of marriage. I don't know, like what like what is the reason why I would come back to the United States? That makes no sense. Is Haiti a good beach vacation area? No, bro, it's not. I want to start replying to these comments sarcastically, but I'm afraid that like some people will take my sarcastic comment as like true, and then they'll go to Haiti, and then they'll get like chopped alive and like eaten, and then they'll blame me for it. The visa is so difficult in Vietnam. It's not. It's very easy. Um, Latino wife living in East Asia. That's Paul. Honestly, like that is my dream life. So I remember, like, I actually said this to myself when I was in Bali when I first did my trip around the world. I was like, I don't like Asian women. I like Latinas, but I prefer Asia. My ideal situation would be married to a Latina and living in Asia. So I got like 50% of it. Should I travel right now to Argentina or Morocco for the purpose of hopefully find my wife? You should 100% do that. Why is East Asia better than Latam to live? Fundamentally, the problem with Latam is that it's dangerous, right? And so because of that, one, you're always, there's always the danger element. But then two, you also have to pay a premium in order to live in like safe places. So like Latam is inherently more expensive than East Asia because you have to live in nicer places, right? East Asia, you can live anywhere and you're fine because it's perfectly safe everywhere. So East Asia is basically cheaper, it's safer, so there's that. Why you said USA is not the place? Um, because I mean I just gave you the reasons. Many Christians in Morocco too. Yeah, I mean I again like I have no problem with Morocco. I like Morocco a lot. I'm just saying I would want to live in a Christian country because I'm Christian, right? You say South Korea over a Japanese city or Chinese city like Shenzhen or Shanghai. Why Korea? Um, I don't know. Look for visiting purposes. I think that Japan is way better than Korea. I would much rather visit Japan over Korea. I don't know what to say though. Like Korea just seems like a better place to live. I'm sorry. I really can't put my finger on why, but it definitely seems like a better place to live. Virginia data center land. Haiti makes Bolivia look like Dubai. Okay. Why not live in Greenland? Because it's about to become part of America, bro. And I'm not living in America. I can get a 1 year visa retirement in Thailand now for 1 year, no problem. In Vietnam, 30 days. I mean, here's the thing, right? And this is a very important thing to remember. That this is overall like a good lesson for people to listen to. Is that the stuff that you read online is not actually true. You know what I mean? Like it's like once you actually go to the place and you actually start, you know, applying for visas and stuff, the process becomes a lot more difficult than like it actually seems. I thought Haiti Beach was good, just the mountains are bad. Bro, Haiti's in a civil war. What is it with you guys and like wanting to go to places that are like in civil wars? Is Da Nang any good? Da Nang is my favorite city on earth right now. If I was to choose to go to anywhere on earth today, it would be Da Nang. Um, Montenegro. Montenegro is incredibly beautiful. Montenegro is one of the most beautiful countries on planet Earth, in my opinion. The problem with Montenegro is that like you're kind of confined to the tourist areas because nobody there speaks English. Nobody outside the tourist area speaks English, and Montenegrin is such a niche language that you have no real hope of like going to Montenegro and speaking Montenegrin. Like for example, like I speak Spanish, right? So I can go all around South America and even in Brazil to an extent and like be fine, right? But when it comes to the Balkans, because every 30 miles they change the language that they speak, it's very difficult, to actually like move there. That being said, like if you knew Montenegrin, I would 100% move to Montenegro. Just go to Singapore. English is spoken, great weather, great food, also very clean. Yeah, Singapore is great. It's expensive though. Latvia women, yay or nay? Dude, people need to stop asking about Latvia women. Like, here's the thing about Latvia women. If if there was actually this huge group of Latvia women who are sitting in Latvia begging American men to come over and sleep with them, you would have seen videos of Latvian women saying it. You would have seen passport bros talking about all the boots that they've been clapping in Latvia. The fact that you haven't seen any of those videos means that it's a lie. Means that it's Indians who are making videos, um, who are making videos in order to try to game the algorithms to make money off of it. Um, what do you think about AI and humanoids? I don't know. Can you elaborate on that? Singapore is expensive. Yeah, that's the only issue with Singapore, but I love Singapore. Da Nang is effing fantastic. Do you have any source of passive income? No. Oh, nice. You're from Montenegro. I spent a week in Kotor. I really loved it. Bro, guys, here's the thing, man. If you guys if you guys ask a question 50 times and I don't respond, I promise you I've seen your question. It's just your question's not interesting. I'm doing this live so that I can do interesting content for people. If you're asking me a question that I don't find interesting, I'm just not going to answer it, man. Stop asking it over and over again. Um, French baddies in Algeria. So, okay, Dare, I'm going to answer your question. People say Chilean people are usually white. However, most of them I met are very indigenous. Okay, but like that's just a question of geographic bias, right? Like for example, right? Like America is 65% white. If you were to go to Atlanta, you would think that America is 95% black. If you were to go to LA, you would think that America is 95% Latino. You know what I mean? Like, yes, you might have the places that you've been to might have been filled with indigenous people, but that doesn't speak to the overall demographics of Chile. right? If you went to Salvador, Brazil, you would think that Brazil is 95% black. That's not true. Brazil is only 5% black. It just happens that that 5% is concentrated in Bahia, right? Brazil is 40% white, 40% mixed, 15% indigenous, and 5% black, right? But if you go to Manaus, you'll think it's 95% indigenous, right? That's the answer to your question. But as you can tell, the answer that I gave you wasn't interesting. People who were listening to it were just like bored by this answer. So that's why I didn't answer the question, right? You're being so hypocritical because how are you talking about looks looking like that though? You're being so hypocritical because you said the same thing about Italy being full of Bangladeshis. It's 10% black in Brazil. Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't have the specific numbers, man. I think the fact that I was able to do that off the top of my head is actually like very very impressive. French baddies in Algeria. I don't think. I mean, I think they're French baddies in Algeria. I have no information about Algeria. I really want to go to Algeria. How are you always talking about looks looking like that, though? Am I always talking about looks? I don't think I'm always talking about looks. I think you're a person who saw one of my videos, who got really upset at me for one of my videos, and now you're jumping in my live in order to troll me because you're mad about one of my videos. You're calling me fat. You're calling me ugly. You're probably an Indian person. You're not actually a girl named Maddie. You're probably an Indian account that got really mad about a video that I made about India. And so now you're trying to troll me by calling me fat. Like that's what you're doing, right? And this is the funny thing is that like I do 3 hours of lives a day, 5 days a week for months. Like you're nothing new to me. Like I like there have been a billion of you that I've interacted with, Maddie. You're an account from Bangladesh who's upset that I talked about how Bangladesh how India sucks. My friend said the cost of living is cheap in Haiti and beaches are nice without knowing what's happening. Yeah, dude, it's hilarious. My name is Maddie and I'm silent. Okay, Maddie. Fine, Maddie. You can join the live and you can call me about how I'm hypocritical. Your whole content is about looks. My whole content's not about looks. My entire point about why Americans need to move abroad is because women in America don't have traditional values, and I think that people need to go and like live in a more traditional lifestyle. Yeah, so Maddie, I invited you to chat. If you want to have an argument with me, you can accept the chat invitation and have a conversation, but like don't call me a hypocrite then if you're not going to accept the chat conversation. So, um Paulie mocks you. Dude, honestly, like, look, I try not to do self-deprecating humor as much anymore for a lot of complicated reasons, but like if I'm mocking you, then like that's a real fucking insult, honestly. Can I get into Venezuela with my US passport right now? I don't think so. Okay, tell me about this hate that I'm spreading.
Like all of your videos are literally talking about South Asia in such a bad light.
Well, no,
And
because
like what's wrong? What's wrong about being from Bangladesh? Which I'm not from there anyway, but that's not the point. You shouldn't be talking hate about South Asians like that.
okay, first of all, not all of my videos are talking about how bad South Asians are because I not all my videos are about South Asians. Maybe all my videos that are about South Asia are about how horrible South Asia is, right? So just be clear about that. But yeah, I mean, I think my videos about how bad South Asia is. I make videos about that because South Asia is a horrible place to be. So of course, like,
Have you been there?
yeah, I spent a month in Mumbai.
Well, there's different places to go than Mumbai, but that's not the entirety of South Asia. South Asia is very vast.
Yeah, I know South
So
Asia
you
is very
can't just
vast.
make a whole opinion like you haven't been to Bangladesh. They do have issues, but what what third country doesn't? And also, I feel like you should know the history about it as well before you chat it.
History about what? What part of Indian history don't I know, and what part of Indian history should I know?
You should know about the colonization. Like literally, Britain looted like 42 trillion, like trillions of pounds, and that's one of the reasons why there's so much suffering
Okay,
going on.
okay. Let me ask you a question. Who was the person who came up with that figure? Do you know? Because I actually read that book that you're taking that figure from, and I don't think you read that book.
Okay, what is the book called then?
It's by this guy Jackson Hinkle. I forgot. It was like Indian colonization, 1840 to something. It's a really stupid book. So do you know how he came up with that $40 trillion number?
And how is that?
Okay, so what he did.
So you said that you don't know anything, and
No,
then
no, no,
you're
no, no,
trying
no,
to
no,
share
no.
about a
Let me let
country.
me let me tell you how he came up with with that $40 trillion number. What he did was he took the GDP of England in 1757, which is when England colonized India. I do know a lot about Indian history, actually, right? And then he compared that to the GDP. He took that GDP on a per capita basis, and then he compared that to the GDP of India in what was it, 1948, when Britain left, right? And so, based upon that, he made the claim that that England took out $40 trillion of money from India, right? The logical fallacy of that is that India wasn't as developed as England was in 1757 when it was colonized. If it was as developed as England was in 1757, it wouldn't have been colonized by 2,000 troops, which is the truth. India was colonized by 2,000 troops. The actual truth of English colonization in India is that it was the best thing that ever happened to India. The English built roads, they built infrastructure, they built a civil society that if you go to India today, you'll still see the remnants of. You'll still see these train stations that exist in India. Let me tell you about actual colonization, because my family comes from a country that actually got colonized in a pretty brutal way for just as much time as India was colonized since 1757. That's the nation of Poland. Do you know how many Soviet subway stations are still in effect in Poland from the time that the Soviets controlled Poland? Zero. Do you know how many Nazi buildings are still built that the Nazis built for us? Zero. Basically, Auschwitz is the only one. Right from the years of 1793 to 1920, it was illegal to speak the language of Polish in Poland. I'm not talking about,
Yeah, but this is
wait,
not
wait, wait,
about
wait, 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 wait,
Poland. I
wait,
don't know
wait,
where
wait a
Poland came
second.
from.
Wait a second. I'm not talking about like, oh, we were, recommended to speak English because England was a colonizer. I'm talking about in Poland in the year 1848, if you spoke Polish in Poland, you would go to prison and you would be killed. Right? So don't talk to me about colonization, like the colonization of India. You literally had people like Rudyard Kipling writing books called White Man's Burden, talking about how the whole purpose of colonization was for them to help these countries get better. Now you can make an argument that that was a cynical ploy in order to justify them extracting resources. That's fine, but no Soviets ever made that argument about colonization in Poland, that they were trying to make our lives better. Their argument was they're trying to screw us over as much as possible. So I don't really give a shit about any of this stuff, right? The fact of the matter is, the reason why India is so poor is because it's the same reason why India was so poor in 1757. Is because the upper classes of India don't give a shit about the poor people, don't build any social infrastructure, don't benefit the overall social structure. And so you go there and you see trash on the street, you see everything's not working because no one really cares about the overall social community. Anyway, go ahead. I'm unmuting you right now. I'm sending you an invite to.
So
Yep.
you were saying that colonization was good for India, which is like such an insane thing to say.
What was the
Because it's not true.
population?
Billions died. Do you know about the Bengal famine?
Yeah, I do know about the Bengal famine. Now, let me ask you a question. How much
And I'm
food?
not from India. I don't know much about India, but
Okay. How much food was in Bengal during the Bengal famine?
I don't know.
Okay.
But there's no like.
No,
There's
no,
no
no,
reason.
no,
My point
no, no, no,
is
no, no. But
that
here's the thing:
like I don't get why
you're
there's so
bringing up
much
things that you
racism
don't
against
know
South
about.
Asians on your content.
You're
You don't
bringing up
like.
things that you don't know about. You're saying what about the Bengal famine? Okay, let me answer you about the Bengal famine. The reason why the Bengali famine occurred is because the rich people in Bengal refused to share the food with the poor people. There were literally poor people dying in the streets in Bengal while the rich people had all their food, in storage houses, which is the exact point that I'm making to you. That's the reason why India sucks. It's because the rich people don't care about the poor people.
Yeah, but that's literally globally though because of capitalism. You can't just blame that on a certain area, and it's because actually the troops took out the food from Bengal and
No, they
took it to
didn't.
England.
They did
Actually,
not. They did
yes, it
not take.
is.
They did
Yes, it
not take
is.
out okay, what you are referring to, okay, is during the Bengal famine, after 3 or 4 months of it already existing, right? You had Japanese troops going into India through Myanmar, right? You had a blockade occurring in Australia, and Winston Churchill had to make a decision if he was going to send more food into Bengal or if he was going to divert that food to Australia in order to fight the Japanese. Winston Churchill spoke to one of the people in India, and they said, "Why would you bring food here? The stocks are filled with food. There's food everywhere in Bengal. The reason why people are starving is because the rich people are not giving anybody any food."
That's not true. Like
That's
I don't know much about
100%.
it, but I'm sure.
You're saying you don't know
I feel
anything
like you're
about it, and
just
then you're
like
saying it's not
saying shit.
true. You're saying you don't know anything about it, and then you're saying it's not true. You didn't actually read the history about any of this stuff. All you know are the headlines. You haven't actually read a book about the Bengal famine. Why are we arguing about something you have no idea about?
No, but I've been told about it in school like ages ago. But like,
Yeah, you've been taught propaganda is what you've been taught. You haven't read any actual
it's
books
not
about it.
propaganda.
It's
It's
100%
literally not.
propaganda. Okay, let me ask you a question. Here I'll actually get the exact statistics because I forgot what it was. What was the population of Bengal in the year 1900? Do you know?
Wait, what?
What was the population of Bengal in 1900? Do you know? So the population of Bengal rose.
Exactly, Mr. Carrot Cakes, and he's saying he's acting like there was no
I'm acting like there's no what.
like it's just all positive and like the reason why they're suffering is because of their own people. That's not true.
It's 100%
That's
true.
literally not true. What?
Okay, well then give me your alternative facts. You're just saying it's not true.
I mean, it's literally widely known. I think the student is he's literally a fascist and
Wait, 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 wait,
so
wait,
proud
wait, wait,
of
wait,
the
wait, wait. How
suffering
dare you
caused of
call me a
colonialism.
fascist? How dare
You
you?
literally are.
I'm
You
literally a
literally
fascist.
are.
Okay. Have you ever been to Auschwitz?
Have I been to Auschwitz? No.
Okay. Go to Auschwitz, take the train from Auschwitz to Birkenau, and ask your tour guide what's the name of the street that you're going on. The name of that street is named after my great grandmother. My great grandfather died fighting literal Nazis. My grandfather was tortured for 5 years because he fought Nazis. His brother had every single tooth from his mouth pulled out because he was fighting Nazis. How dare you call me a fascist? You don't know what an actual fascist is. You got the
It's
most
you. It's
you
literally
you
you.
you you got the most white glove absolute best colonialism that ever existed in the world in India, and you guys are still bitching about it, while Poland has been screwed over every single day for 2,000 years, and we don't complain about anything. You don't know anything about history. You ever read a single fucking book. You don't even know what the population of Bengal
Yeah,
was.
well,
You
you
don't know
do.
anything
You're
about
just
any of this
twisting the
stuff.
facts.
I'm,
You're
I,
literally twisting the
you don't
facts.
have any facts.
Yeah, well, I've read about it a long time ago, but how would I know the statistics?
Well, you're up here talking about the Bengal famine, I would thought you would have some actual information. All
She lives in the UK but won't live in India. I won't because Britain screwed India for like hundreds of years.
yeah, but you don't have any actual facts about it. You're just
And you're literally, yeah, he's literally defending colonialism, saying it's like the best thing ever.
okay. I'm done. If you don't if you want to have an argument with me, you're allowed to have any argument with me. People who've been on these lives know that I love it. But if you're just gonna come up here and say, "Oh, I don't have any facts. I'm just right," she's probably a rich girl from India, lives in UK. Oh, she's 100%. So her family were the people who were oppressing other Indians. Her family was oppressing other Indians in India. They were robbing other Indians blind. And then once colonialism was over, they came to America, and they came to England with the money that they looted from their own people, which is exactly what those people do. So anyway, this is why you simply disregard their opinions. It's not actually their opinion in the first place. It was simply stuffed in their soft heads by an evil man that owns a media org. 100%. You can still be a fascist even if your grandparents was fighting against them. No, actually, I mean, sure, I could, but when I tell you that I'm against fascism, you should believe it because I actually have a personal connection to the fight against fascism, while fascism for you is just like, a slogan. It was the UK that looted India. Um, it's absolutely crazy to me to start an argument by saying I know absolutely nothing about the subject. I think Seth just won, guys. I think Seth just won this entire conversation. That's why we love you, Paulie. Speak the facts that this feminism ladies learn and hopefully get married and have kids before they get old. I mean, she's not getting married and having kids. Everybody knows that. But I don't believe you since you stand for colonialism. Okay, Mister Carrot Cake. If you want to talk to me about colonialism, I'm gonna have one more conversation with somebody about colonialism, and then So, Mister Carrot Cake, I just sent you an invitation. You're free to accept it if you want. You know, aristocrat cosplaying as Bleeding Heart. I appreciate everybody supporting this. Anyway, I think Carrot Cake is a little bit too scared to actually have a conversation with me. So I think I mean we can obviously you know continue this, but I can answer some questions too. You got your back, Paul. Thanks, man. Time for Paul to eat the cake. I sent Mr. Carrot Cake an invitation. Um, Taught them how to use a knife and fork instead of the fingers. You wouldn't even live in a family country. Maddie Meredith. Thoughts on Belize, bro? I want to go to Belize. I've never been to Belize, man. I'd love to go to Belize. Mr. Carrot Cake, you have an invitation to talk, Mr. Carrot Cake. We saw Temple of Doom, Mexico. Do I defend colonialism? Um, I don't really know what that question means. Like, am I pro colonialism? No. Do I think that the narrative that's been spun about British colonialism in India is wrong? Yes. Both of these things can be true. I think people have an inherent right towards self-determination. I don't think that one group of people should colonize another and tell another people what they should do. I'm inherently against that. It's one of the reasons why I love to travel. I love to go to different cultures and experience those different cultures and see how these people love to live their lives. Some people I agree with, some people I don't. I try to treat everybody with respect. Even when I was in India, I treated everybody with respect. It's something that I believe very strongly in. That being said, do I think that the narrative that exists about British colonialism in India is accurate? No, I don't believe that. Right? It's like you can hold two ideas in your hand at the same time. If you're anti-fascist, how do you still support the colonialism of India with so many similarities? Well, there's not similarities between the colonialism of India and and Nazism. You would know that if you knew anything about the colonialism of India or about what the Nazi party did. It's not a hard question. I answered the question for you though. White guilt, respect by chatting crap. I'm not gonna. I mean, right now, I think she's. Right now, I think she's within her rights of like gentle trolling. So I'm not gonna block her. If she goes over the line, I'm gonna block her. But right now, I think she's. You know, right now, I think she's being like respectful. Is just simple. Say F colonialism. Nothing good came out of it. Well, that's the thing that I'm saying is it's not that simple. And if you actually read the history of colonialism in India, it's actually very positive. So that's what I don't agree with. Right? That's the entire point that I'm making. Right? Is that no, it's actually a lot more complicated than that. There are a lot of places where colonialism were was 100% bad, like when the Nazis colonized Poland in 1939. That was 100% bad. But there are a lot of places. I mean, also like the fact that India is like a tech powerhouse is because they speak English. The reason why they speak English is because of English colonialism. Um. Anyway, okay. So Mr. Carrot Cake is somebody who you know, I'm not going to respond to Mr. Carrot Cake because he refuses to talk. I got my bachelor's in political science. User, you need a Latina baddie. Please help. How do you want me to help you, bro? Like, tell me how I can help you, and I'll help you. Tell me how I can help you. Yeah, dude, 100%. Um. Anyway, I just need some sage counsel. Go talk to them. I mean, that is the response. Like, go talk to them. Talk about 90-day visa in Brazil. So I stopped going to Brazil once they implemented the visa rules. I don't do paperwork. That's like one of my things is that I don't do paperwork. That's one thing I'm known for is my hatred of paperwork. So once Brazil made me do paperwork in order to go to Brazil, I was like, I'm not going to Brazil anymore. India's more racist than Brits. That's 100%. That's 100% true. Extensive blackness, cheap viewers. Oh, okay. That's just a troll. I was attacked by a dog in Brazil. Bro, Mr. Carrot Cake, I'm inviting you to talk. I keep on inviting you to talk and you keep on refusing. Do Spanish girls count as Latina? Honestly, like I don't consider. Do I like brown people? Yeah, 100%, dude. My so I actually have to say this. So I'm gonna answer. Britain would be poor without India. Why? This is one of the funniest things is when people say that like Britain would be poor without India. When in 1757 Britain conquered India with 2,000 people. Britain was rich before they ever went to India. India was poor when Britain went there. Yet for some reason, India is the reason why Britain's rich. Do I like brown people? So I gotta say this. Like I actually have a real affinity for for my black followers, my black fans. That's why from time to time I really try to put out content specifically for black people. from a principle perspective, I think making racial specific content is like a bad thing to do. But um, my like when I started my channel, like of my first 10,000 followers, like 7,000 of them were black. So I really appreciate the support that I've gotten from the black community. It's the reason why I'm able to have this channel, and I'm really appreciative of it. But I'm not going to pander to people. I'm not going to say things that I don't think are true. And inherently, there are going to be a lot of black people that have political opinions that don't agree with me, and they're going to get offended by it. But the thing is, the reason why I think black people fuck with me as much as they do, and the reason why they did, is because I'm somebody who speaks my mind unabashedly. I'm going to say what's true. I'm not going to change what I say based on what my audience wants to hear. And I think that's why people like what I have to say. So you can get offended by it. You cannot. Sorry, I'm still getting over a cold, but I'm always going to speak my truth. Anyway, Spanish people like the Latinos. Yeah. Yo, Mr. Carrot Cake, I keep on inviting you to talk, but you are a little pussy who prefers to fight in the comments instead of actually having a conversation with me. Um, Spanish girls are European. Basement dwellers aren't much for challenge. That's true. I don't really go to the doctor. I should, so I don't really know that much about the private health insurance. Um, again, like you're saying, I have this racism against South Asians, but again, most of my like a huge amount of my friends are South Asian. Like 35% of my wedding was Indian people. The colonization of America was good for all of planet Earth despite the pain. That's 100% true. Best countries for boys trips. Go to Cartagena, bro. Fill out the group form. If you go to Cartagena with us, okay, I just got restricted because somebody complained about harassment and bullying. Oh, somebody just filled out the group package. Nice. Yeah, so I'm just having South Asian friends doesn't make you any less racist. This is the funny thing is that like racist used to mean somebody who has like an actual hatred for a group of people. Nowadays, racist just means that like you know you're somebody that I don't like. You know what I mean? Like it's like if somebody chooses to surround themselves with Indian people, then yeah, that person is not inherently racist against Indian people. I don't know what to say. When is the boat party? March 16th to the 22nd. It is probably Carrot Guy, bro. Carrot Guy's a coward. Um, my expertise is in South America. Honestly, I'm more of a generalist. Um, Thoughts on Australia? Australia kind of suffers from the same problems as like the rest of the West. Vietnamese girls are pretty. I know you don't like Asians, but which Asian? I like Asians, bro. Oh, you mean like Asian women? Oh yeah, I'm not really into Asian women. I think that I think Mongolia honestly has the hottest Asian women. Isn't that why we have the comment section? Yeah, dude, but like if you're gonna be talking so much, just like come on the live and just have a conversation, bro. Yeah, but they're not token. How do you know you're not scamming us and tied to some organized group in Cartagena? I mean, if that's your concern, man, there's nothing that I can say. Here's the thing: like, people coming to me be like, "How do I know this? How do I know that?" I'm like, honestly, like at a certain point, like I can't disprove that. So, like, just wait, I guess, until we post some videos. I'm wrong about the British invasion of India. No, what am I wrong about? If your friends saw your content bash in their countries, you're gonna get canceled, bro. Like, that's hilarious. Yo, my group chat with my bro, that's hilarious. Yo, but the reason why my Indian friends are friends with me is because I'm constantly bashing India to them. What are you talking about? And they're constantly bashing other things to me. We're having fun. Like our one of our group chats is literally called your favorite racist memes. Like, come on, man. I give the Japan. That is true. Like, why are you even here? Hey there, Paul. Yo, Tanthrus, what up, man? Just risk it for the biscuit, 100%. I was born and spent 30 years in India, last 10 years in USA, Canada, Latam, and Europe. Can you join? You can 100% join. I don't have any racism towards Indian people. You can join if you're Indian, man. We're happy to have you. Yeah, I was actually thinking about this because I'm doing this with like a with a business partner of mine, but who knows? He could always scam me, and like I'm starting to put away money. I'm just like, fuck. If there's a scam going on, I'm gonna have to pay back a lot of people. I'm gonna have to sell some books, to pay back some people. But we're gonna do it. I'm not as Mr. Carrier says. Like I'm here constantly. There's no way I'd be able to get away with it if this was a scam. So I'm hoping that I'm not getting scammed because if I am, then I'm fucked. Yeah, the politically correct BS is on the way out. People no longer give a fuck. Yeah, dude, 100%. You should come to Cyprus this summer. I would love to go. Every live someone gets into an argument about India. Honestly, like Adrian makes a good point. First of all, like the argument about India stuff is always good content. People always do like it. So like I'm not gonna shy away from it. But like I think that what I need to say is start saying to people, because we can't just have every live just be arguing about India. Or maybe we can. We could do that too if you guys want. But like I might start like designating like Thursday as like the India day. You know what I mean? Dude, Bolivia kind of sucks, man. Hunter asked about Bolivia. Bolivia ain't it. Me and my wife came to Bolivia. We were like, we're gonna do a month in Bolivia. We're gonna see if Bolivia is like the next Asuncion, and it's not. It's called internalized racism. Again, like this is like your type of bullshit. What's the fee to join the boat party? It's 12.50. How much is a trip to Cartagena? I was gonna go to Rio in March, but I haven't bought anything. Go party on the yacht in Cartagena, bro. You'll have a great time. I can go to Cartagena instead. Dude, come to Cartagena, man. Fill out the form in the bio and we'll have you, man. You'll have a good time. Which European women artists cooked and feminist? None. Go to South America. Dude, on January. Wait, is January 26th Indian Republic Day? Yo, January 26th is India Independence Day? Why did nobody tell me this? Yo, we're gonna have so much anti-India content on January 26th. Oh my god. Oh my god. Who Con Toronto? Yo, Con Toronto's my boy now. Yo, we're gonna have such a great time on India Independence Day. Is that true? What day? What day is Indian Independence Day? Ah, we're gonna have so much fun. No, it's August 15th. Republic Day? Oh, is that a different thing? Was Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, dude, we're definitely gonna cook on Indian Republic Day. Oh, what up, Con Toronto? It's my boy. I'm going to India next month. What should I do? Honestly, like India is not that. I mean, India is terrible, but like the food is good in India. I'm gonna say that. I think every day is a good day for an India rant. Yo, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to. What's a beginner country do you recommend? Two good beginner countries are Costa Rica and Thailand. But here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna start studying. I'm gonna start studying, and we're gonna have the best India Republic Day ever. I'm gonna really because I have some of these facts, but I don't have them at the tip of my tongue. We're gonna have this down pat. Indian Independence Day is gonna be great. 1250. Yep, 100%. Um, Bolivia's just a desert. Some crazy parts of the Amazon that just scientists go. Well, Dantas, you could have told me that before I got here, bro. I'm just fucking with you. Um, have I been to the DR? I actually haven't been. Bro, Mr. Carrot Cake, just accept the invitation, bro. Malaysia or Brazil for February? I would honestly go to Malaysia just because Brazil is gonna be like overrun with like carnival stuff. I always find it so funny when people are like, India's the best, India's the best. Okay, well then why don't you go live there? Oh, because it's a shithole. It's like so I make videos saying India sucks and I'm the racist. But then but then we're like, why don't you go to live in India? And you're like, well, it sucks. And I'm like, well, that's literally exactly what I said. Like word for word. Anyway, I appreciate everybody. I have a throat issue, so my wife told me I can only really do this for 2 hours because I need to like protect my throat. I have like a throat infection, so let's do this. We'll do any last questions that people have. If you guys have any last questions, let me know, and we can answer them. If not, come back tomorrow and we're gonna have our anti-India stream coming up soon. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Just requested for awesome, dude. Yo, Jesse, I'll WhatsApp you right now. Having a racist group chat, it ain't it, bro. So Mr. Carrot Cake is like having a racist group chat is not ain't it. The funny thing is, I'm literally the only white person in the group chat. You know what I mean? Like I'm in a racist group chat with with everybody in it is not white. Like what are we talking about here? Anyway, thanks everyone. Thanks travel lover. January 26th. Oh my god, that's like Christmas for me.